Workshop, another live stream. We've done hundreds now. It's crazy. Only just made it in time, so bear with me while I get set up. Let's just refresh this, see if YouTube's caught up with us or not. Dum dum dum. Chug 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 chug. Yes, there we go. Look. Okay, let's find out who we've got in the workshop today. Roger Heaps. Good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Roger. Hopefully it's not too cold down in sunny Invercargill. Purple Monkey 1974. Hi everybody. Go-kart project at last. I know, and I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Oh, hang on. All the stuff's disappeared again. PC gaming. No, we don't want to do that. Thank you. Simon. Mr. Rawl, morning Andy and crew, the go-kart. And I've been thinking a lot about this go-kart. I really have. And we've got some news. Some really good news. What's going on here? Here we go. We're back on track. Hang on, bear with me. Vijayant Governor. Good evening, Andy and crew from South Africa. Good evening, Vijayant. Hope you're all good, matey. JJ, lots of thumbs up. Thank you, JJ. Morning, Andy and crew. And Team Sheldon is in the workshop. Mr. Rush, morning team. Andy, big thumbs up. Easy, matey. No worries. Right. Oh, Connor K. Morning, Andy and crew. You're all flooding through this morning. Morning, Connor. Great to have you on board, matey. So where do we start? Well, I suppose we should let a few more get out of bed before we actually really kick off with the nitty-gritty of this live stream. No, I don't want YouTube Premium. Thank you. Okay. Where do we start? So let's go have a quick look at the pie. This pie, I'm amazed that I haven't done this one before. It's plain packaging. It's from a sort of service stationy cafe place called Autobahn, just south of Auckland. It's right next to a BP petrol station, a big one at the Bombay Hills. And they do pies. I never thought they did. Mrs. Mechanic went in to grab a coffee and she came back with a pie for me for today. But they don't. She asked about the pies and they don't make their own. They buy them in. These come from a company called Love a Pie. That's Luvapie. Love a Pie. And quick sneaky peek, because I'm not going to put it in the oven just yet. There's the pie. Steak and cheese. Looks very similar to a BP pie, doesn't it? We will have to wait and see, won't we? So, steak and cheese is on the menu for today. Who else have we got? AJ44, afternoon, Andy and crew from Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada. Canada's nice. It is. We watched a great racy thing across Canada on TV the other week, and there's some pretty nice places in Canada. Well, it gets pretty cold too. Simon, 3 pies chapter. Cheap. I think it's cheaper. 3 pies cheaper than the shopping. Simon, you know where I'm going with this live stream already, don't you? Are you ready? This is a genuine receipt, okay? And later on, I'm going to pick out a few common items that I know are for sale. My arms aren't long enough. Oh, there you go, look. That I know are for sale, you know, around the world. Common stuff. And then we'll have a little chat. And you can compare the New Zealand's extortionate prices, because it's shot up heaps in the last 12 months. We can have a little chat about, you know, compare prices, basically. I know it's nothing to do with mechanicking and things, but hey, we all have to live. And when this was churned out of the printer at Pack and Save in Taupo, it was, I was just watching the numbers going up, and it hit $500, and I'm like, that's a lot, you know, for one shopping trolley. That's a lot of money. What the hell have we got in the trolley? And I had a look through, and there might have been a couple of packets of chicken breasts and maybe a steak, some sausages. There was nothing really. A couple of boxes of one box of cider. That's 12 bottles of cider, 12 bottles of beer, a couple of bottles of wine that are $10 each. You know, there was nothing that jumped out as like, yeah, that's where all the money's gone. You know, there was nothing like that. So I found it just when it hit the $750 mark. I was stunned. In all honesty, I was just like, "What the hell? Really? Shit! Last time we got shopping." George Bonnie 90. Hello, everybody. Good morning, George. Welcome back to the workshop, matey. Simon Roll spotted the pork for a roast dinner. Yes, Mrs. Mechanic has started to buy a big chunk of pork rather than little bits like chops and stuff, because it does work out quite a lot cheaper. You do roll the dice a little bit with the chunk of pork that you get, the piggy that you get, but we've been pretty good so far, and it's super tasty. And the one thing we've found here, and I don't know if it's the same in your place, but wherever you are in the world, but I was cooking some bacon last night, just some little bits to go in with a cauliflower cheese thingy that Mrs. Mechanic made. Anyway, and the amount of these were thin slices of bacon, right? The amount of water that came out of that bacon was unbelievable. Obviously tumbled. I think that's an industry term. Same thing goes with chicken pieces and stuff. You know, I was cutting some chicken breasts up a few weeks ago. I don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen, but I do help Mrs. Mechanic now and again. And again, you know, just holding the pieces of chicken, I could almost wring the piece out in my hand and all this water would come out. And when you're cooking it, you know, it takes ages for all the water to leave the meat and boil away before you actually start to cook the meat properly. And obviously they do it just to get the weight up. So you're just buying water. It's just dumb. But anyway, that's a side story. But, you know, do you experience the same thing? With the big chunks of pork, you don't really get that. It's just pork. Even pork chops seem to have a lot of water in them. So, you know, a big chunk of pork, it's sort of, maybe they can't do it with that. I don't know, but it just seems better. Who else have we got? That's it so far. Right. I think. There we go. So, what's been happening in the last couple of weeks? Wow. I've got to go back 2 weeks ago in my head. Let's start with this week. I think the week before I was on the road doing dealer visits. I'm sure I was. Absolutely certain I was. I was away from home visiting dealers. And I'll amend that if I think of something else, but I'm sure that's what it was. Yeah, I'm sure I was, because I was looking forward to getting into the workshop and doing the go-kart. That's right. This last week, dealer visits again, actually, visiting motorcycle shops. So Monday, the hell did I go on Monday? Man, my memories are blank. It's been a really busy 2 weeks. There's a lot going on. I don't know. I can't even remember where I was on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, I was up to... Was it Wednesday? Monday, Tuesday, I think it was dealer visits again. Sure it was. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I was up in Auckland. That's right. Yes, I remember this bit. Up in Auckland, stayed in Auckland Wednesday night. Mrs. Mechanic went to the theatre. She did. She very much enjoyed that. I didn't go. Wasn't my cup of tea. I just went to the pub. And Friday, I was obviously in Taupo. Did a visit in the morning, and then had a very long lunch break. Went to do some shopping. It was actually, I ran very late at the dealers, actually, because I had some admin to do in the morning, urgent admin. So I pushed back the visit, did the visit. About 3:30 by the time I finished the visit. Went to go do some shopping, and then drove home, and that was the end of the day, basically. I got home about 5:10, and I just had no inclination whatsoever to start doing any more work. That was it for me for the weekend. Job done, you know. Where do we get to? JJ, it's the alcohol that pushes the final amount up at the checkout. I agree with you, but these two boxes, geez, I don't know if we can find them on here or not. I think, oh, actually, they were one of the first things we rang through, because we usually do that first. Right, here we go. No, not strawberry jam. Where is it? I wasn't going to do this straight away, but anyway. Let me find the beers. They should have been at the top. Hang on, bear with me. Maybe it changes it all around when you... anyway, just to give you an idea, they were about $22 a box. All right, so $44 plus a couple of bottles of wine. Let's round it up, okay? So 44, let's say $70 on alcohol, okay? And that will last us, well, the beers and cider will last me quite some time because I'm not at home for the next few weeks. But yeah, it's not a lot. Out of $750, you take $70 off for alcohol. That still leaves what, $680 without any alcohol in the trolley for a trolley of shopping, and it wouldn't be a full trolley either. Once you take those 2 boxes out, because everything was in the trolley. There was no additional stuff. I wasn't carrying the beers. It was all in that trolley. And I mean, granted, back and say have big, probably slightly larger trolleys than most supermarkets, but even so, astronomical. Nobody could argue with the fact that $750 for one shopping trolley of food, if it's not packed full of steaks, for example, is just ludicrous. It really is. Ollie, I'm about to go to bed. Got to get up to fly from England to Melbourne. That's a long way. We'll be spannering for a large Volvo truck dealership. Hey, that's a good move. So you got out of the UK. Well done. Obviously Australia's got lots of prospects, and you tend to get paid pretty well over there. Although the cost of living, it's not as bad as New Zealand, but you don't just look at your salary, look at your costs as well, because you only get what's left, right? But also be very careful, because there are many, many things in Australia that are trying to kill you. There are. So be very careful. Don't go into the countryside, whatever you do, because there's enormous spiders. There's crocodiles or alligators or something. I think there's 7 different things that are specifically, their main role in life is to kill humans. Yes, sorry, YouTube's probably going to get really upset by that on their algorithm, but it's true. There's some pretty evil wildlife in Australia. And I'm talking wildlife, I'm not talking other people, obviously. But yeah, pretty bad. Anyway, good luck with your trip, Ollie. It's a long way to fly to Australia. Right, where do we get to? Simon, 12 500ml bottles of good quality cider in the UK is about £20. So that's about $40, isn't it? It's about double, I think, at the moment. I've not really checked. So our bottles are not 500. Our bottles are 330, near enough. Basically the same size as a can of Coke. So we get 12. So you're definitely up on us on that, but you are also more expensive. Interesting. I would say by the 100ml, we're just trying to do it in my head, you're actually more expensive than we are on alcohol. Oh, hang on, we're going out. Ollie, I will cover myself in bubble wrap when I go outside. Good man. I think that's a very good idea. But just make sure you can still run. So just when you bubble wrap your legs, don't do them together. Do them individually, because those spiders are fast and they've got big tangs on them. They'll get through bubble wrap. They will. And the worst thing is, right, I've never seen one in the flesh, so to speak, but there's been many, many stories. Huntsman spiders, they're called. And they're massive. They're bigger than your hand. They're enormous, great things. And they loiter around your front door, like up in the roof or, in the little alcove bit. They'll hide. And then when you go home, they jump on you. They attack you. They're actually an attack spider. They don't run away, going, oh, as a human, I'll run away and be safe. They attack you. They pounce on you. So I just don't like that. I don't like Australia at all. I mean, it's not too bad in the cities because they've sort of stamped them all out, literally. But when you get to the suburbs, and especially in the countryside, no, where there's bush and stuff around, not a chance. You won't catch me stopping. Should we start a homebrew alcohol section of the show? Well, Ben, believe it or not, my lad Ben is becoming quite a specialist at producing his own homebrews. He does what was he called? Like tea wine. He does Mrs. Mechanic, which is a bit odd. But he's also been making a lot of cider, and he brings me cider down. Now, Benjamin is He's an avid drinker of cider. He does like his cider. He always has, and he drinks a lot of cider. And the alcohol level of his cider is over 10%. It's very, very strong, to the point where I don't like it. I'm sorry, Ben. I've tried it so many times, and it's just, for me, it's just too strong and it's too sweet. I actually like a dry cider, and I don't like it over strong on the alcohol level, because then I can have a bit more without, getting too much of a headache the next day. So yeah, sorry, Ben. You're gonna need to make a learner plates version of your cider, because it's too much for me. And cut down on the sugar a bit, will you? Wow. Connor K. Jeremy Clarkson made that comment on a few occasions about Australia and things that want to kill you. You see, it's true. If Jeremy Clarkson says it, it has to be true. And I concur, Jeremy. What a good bloke he is. Ollie, Homebrew is super cheap to make, and it can be really nice too. It can be. It can. Mrs. Mechanic says that the tea wine that he makes for her, and he's made a few other variants as well, is very nice. In the main, it's very nice. There's the odd one that you go, ooh, this is going to be a bit of a struggle. We'll get through this one, then we'll start another one. It might be better. Always a good one. Good ploy. But his cider, I've tried his cider so many times, and I can't. If I'm really desperate for a drink and there's nothing else in the fridge, and it's been a long, hard day in the workshop, I will revisit Ben's cider, but it takes quite an effort, and I always regret it afterwards. I've even tried watering it down with some lemonade or something just to dilute but it's got a weird taste to it. It has. Anyway, Vijayant have tried ginger beer. Very nice on a hot day. Ginger beer is good. I like ginger beer. I do. They do quite. There's what's it called? Begins with a B. Bundenberg. That's it. Bundenberg. They do a range of stuff, and they do a lemonade and lime one, I think it is, and that's really nice. I like that. A bit different to normal ginger beer, but I do like that one on a hot day. I like that. It's very refreshing. No alcohol in it. It's just nice. New Zealand is flooded with energy drinks, unfortunately. When you go into the petrol station and you don't want a coffee, and you've drunk gallons of water already, and you just want a normal drink, it's basically either something that's filled with sugar, Coke, 7-Up, that kind of stuff, Sprite, they call it here, or it's energy drinks, or it's some kind of milky thing. There isn't really anything that I find that refreshing over here. So I usually opt for water. Yeah, another bottle of water. Can't go wrong with that. AJ44. Our products here in Canada are roughly about the same price they used to be. Here's the catch. A 500-gram bacon pack is now a 350 gram for the same price. They've done this on many products. Shrinkflation. Yes. Now from a supermarket perspective, that's quite a smart move, because they can say our prices have stayed the same. But like you say, you're getting a lot less for your money. So different train of thought on that. Here, the prices have just skyrocketed. I remember going shopping, it was about a year ago, and I think it was Pack and Save. I mean, it might have been a different supermarket. I really can't remember. But we filled the shopping trolley, and if it wasn't Pack and Save, it'd be worse, because they're smaller trolleys. And it was $500. And yes, we had a bit of meat in there on that one. But even so, I thought $500 that was the first time we've got anywhere near that on one trolley worth. And it's like, holy shit, how do some families cope here in New Zealand now? You just have to buy the most budget brand of food possible. If you've got a load of kids to feed and stuff, it's just staggeringly expensive. And I was genuinely shocked. I really, really was. Banana Brooks agreed. Over 6%. Cider seems to lose its refreshing quality. Yeah, Ben's cider to me is not refreshing at all. I like when I'm, the first time I open a bottle of cider or a can of cider, whatever, or a big bottle of cider, whatever it is, chuck the ice in. I have a nice steel tankard that used to belong to my dad. Yes, Mum, I've got both of them, and I'm looking after them. They're well used. Chuck the ice in, chuck the cider in, and normally I'll drink half that pint straight off. And it's so thirst quenching. It's really nice. There's no way I could do that with Ben cider. No way whatsoever. So you've made a very valid point there. And I think he needs to just tone it down. Machine NZ. Hi, Andy. Just popped in to say hi. Got a busy day, so won't stay long. That's all right, Kevin. No problem at all, matey. I've left the ashtray over there. I was really short of time this morning, and I was quite surprised we got live at the right time. Ice in cider. No! It's what Dad used to do. I don't always have ice in cider, only on a hot day, Simon. If it's a cold day, no ice. But it's a really good incentive to drink the whole lot before the ice really starts to dilute the cider. If you leave it too long and the ice has all disappeared, the last quarter is way too watered down. So I agree with you completely. But I do have ice in cider sometimes. It's pretty hot over here, you know. And otherwise your cider gets warm really quick. Oh, hang on, I jumped one. JJ, can you get HP sauce down your way? It's been out of stock up here for weeks. Oh dear. We do have HP sauce here. Quite a few of the supermarkets now do what they call an English aisle. It's not a full length aisle, obviously, but there's a couple of bays in the supermarket where you can get English stuff, and there's other nationalities of food in there as well. But HP sauce is pretty readily available here in New Zealand now. In fact, you reminded me, I'm supposed to be sending a bottle to Jim Kay, and I've completely forgotten. And that was a long time ago. Sorry, Jim. Next time we go shopping, I'll be sure to get your bottle and send it across. Hopefully, customers will let it through. Roger Heaps, we don't really buy meat. No, you don't. You cultivate your own. But the grocery bill is still horrendous. Even home kill costs have almost doubled. Beef, lamb, and pork. Wow, just to chop it up. That's crazy. Riley Disquid, good name. I've just begun my karting journey. Bought a Predator 212 non-Hemi. Wow. So I'm excited. I'd like to jump up to the 400-ish range soon. The only experience I've got on go-karting was when I was a little kid. It was the first petrol-powered vehicle I ever had, and it was an X-Racing go-kart, which is very old. And it belonged to the Spinning Wheels Motor Club in York. And they had it, and they must have, gone go-karting, and people take turns to drive it and that kind of thing. And then it sort of got mothballed. I think the engine blew up, and it got put in somebody's garage, one of the club members. And it was there for years. And Dad mentioned it to me one day that he was going to get it up and running for me. And it took years to get it sorted out. But I kept badgering him. And eventually it turned up, and they'd fitted a Honda C50 engine to it, a little moped engine to it. So, I was only about, 10 at the time, maybe 11 years old. So, Honda C50 engine was still, it was enough for me to start off with. Within a year, and this was me doing it, I pulled the top end down and put a Honda C70 top end on it, so a bit more power. It was a semi-automatic gearbox, so you just had a little gear lever off where the gear pedal would be, and the engine sat to your right-hand side, the fuel tank was right next to your head. It was super dangerous, there's no chain guard on it, nothing like that. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in that go-kart. And I used, despite it being a racing go-kart with Continental slick tyres on it, and it had the proper slick tyres on it, so it was fun on the grass. A drift kart, basically. Where was I going with this? Yes, I used to do jumps with it. I used to build little wooden jumps and stuff, and then we'd jump the go-kart, because it's like Dukes of Hazzard. It was fun. But it often would crack the tubing on the chassis, a bit like Jared's go-kart, really. It would break it. So I'd have to take it to Dad's garage, and they'd weld it up for me, and I'd take it home and probably do the same thing again a few weeks later. Mum used to have a big gravel driveway with a roundabout in the middle at our house in Sheriff Hutton. Nice place. I like Sheriff Hutton. 2 pubs. It was good. And Highwayman, and what was the other one called? Can't remember. The Highwayman was the best. Good pub. It was more like the locals pub. The other one, which I've forgotten, was on the main road, and that was sort of more the touristy people that would drive through and come up from York for a drink to Sheriff Hutton, as they would in their Porsches and stuff. But no, the Highwayman was the locals, the farmers, and all that kind of stuff, so it was much, much more of a pub. But yeah, the gravel driveway, So, of course, having a roundabout was a perfect opportunity to try and mimic or copycat the Dukes of Hazzard lads going around the tree in the Dodge Charger. So I would just get it full tilt, hook it into the roundabout, full power, and basically spray the gravel all over the garden and pebble dash the house on a regular basis. And mum and dad used to go mental. And I didn't blame them, to be fair, because I used to wreck the place. I was bad. I was a bad kid. I really was. And then, I'd just shout back at them. I was quite an angry child. But I had a lot of fun doing it, Dad used to have a couple of old surfboards, the really old ones that didn't have the keel on them. They were just made of like plywood, basically, with a bit of a fold at the front, bit of a bend. And we grabbed one of those out of the loft, drilled a hole in it, put a rope on it, and stuck it behind the old Honda SS50. Go on, Ollie, little brother. You sit on that, and I'll tow you around the garden. How dangerous are those? Brilliant fun. Made you a good rider on the motorbike, because every corner you went into, it was trying to drift you out. The back wheel would let go, and you were just sliding out and trying to hold on and keep the power on. And poor Ollie on the little surfboard, he would fly out at a tremendous speed, and if you weren't careful, he would hit something, be it the hedge or a garden chair or something like that. And he'd be wearing his helmet, he'd shake it off, maybe cry a little bit, and he'd climb back on for some more. And we'd go down the grass, onto the gravel, up past my old workshop, because I had a workshop then, and then over a hump, and then back onto the grass again. And it was probably about 100-meter lap. Bloody good fun. And we'd do that all afternoon until he was that broken he couldn't carry on. Great fun. Good old days. I miss those days. I digress. Where do we get to? Done that one. Yes, done that one. So thank you, Riley. Banana Brooks. Has Alan recovered from the Bonnie damage analysis yet? He's working his way through it. I have something that's going to be extremely funny planned, and it was a comment that was mentioned to me on one of the videos, which is really, it's triggered something. So watch this space. It's not going to happen straight away, but it is going to happen. I've still got to actually produce the parts list. I've not had time. I've been really, really busy. But I'll get it through to him, and then he'll have a little heart attack. One thing that somebody mentioned, though, is, on the primary drive side, when we had to remove that cover to get the end of the gearbox sprocket out, it had all those little notches in the casting, because the sprocket only just fit out. And somebody mentioned to me that that's not standard. They've actually filed all those little notches in order to fit a larger sprocket. Really? You're that keen on going a bit faster when the engine probably won't even pull it anyway? Odd. I can't get my head around that. I mean, he has got another Bonnie, so I'll have to ask him to take well, actually, no, I won't. There's no way I'll get Alan to do that. No. I'll ask Stu at Invercargill if that's the case, because he'll know. He's worked on a fair few of them. He'll know if those notches in the casting to allow a larger sprocket to go in is standard or not. But I can't imagine somebody filing all that out. But that's what they do, I'm told. Otherwise, you've got to strip the gearbox to fit the larger sprocket, because you've got to remove the output shaft to get it in place. Dumb design, if you ask me. Where do we get to? George Body 90. Is HP sauce like A1 steak sauce? I don't know. I've not had A1 steak sauce. It's hard to tell. HP sauce it's made from vegetables. It's brown and it's quite spicy. It's really nice. It's just got a distinct flavour to it. I do like it, especially on like bacon sandwiches and stuff. It's good. Kevin, catch you later. We'll catch the rest later. Cheers, Andy. No worries, matey. You take care. Have fun in your workshop. Clyde, do something. Here in Canada, they've been gaslighting us on the news, saying that inflation is low. Really? They say 2.8% in June. They just keep changing how they measure it. And I suppose as well, if they're selling smaller food portions for the same amount of money, then that might not be accounted for in the inflation figure? I don't know. Maybe people are just buying a bit less and eating a bit less, and it's costing them the same. It's all swings and roundabouts, isn't it? They just try to hide stuff. The bottom line is everything is a lot more expensive now. Food prices are up 10%. Okay. AJ44. George Bonnie. HP is very dark and peppery and vinegary. It is. Delicious sauce. Good on almost everything it touches. A1 is good as well, but it's sweeter. It's a sweeter taste compared to HP. Cheers, AJ44. You see, I couldn't comment on that. I've never had A1 sauce before. The Giant HP is very nice on eggs. It is. George Bonnie 90. Thank you, AJ. Roger Heaps. What's next episode of Monkey Bike Ride Out? Or when? Mrs. Mechanic has pretty much worked her way through all the rushes for, I think, the next 4 days, which is what's going to be in the next episode, she's decided. But it's a long version at the moment. She's got to bolt all those days together, render it, and that she's going to keep that for her own viewing and the family and stuff, because it's about 2 hours long. And then she's going to chop it down to make the 40-minute, 35-minute, 40-minute episode for YouTube. Yes, she's on with it. She is. Poor lass. She banged her head yesterday. She did. We were busy spraying in the workshop, and I have a little bit of angle iron that sticks down off one of the beams, and at the end it has a little eyelet that swivels. Really useful when I'm spraying the plates. I can hook the plate in, put a screwdriver through one of the holes, and I can manipulate the whole plate 360 degrees and bring it round onto the horizontal plane as well for spraying. And I can spray the whole plate in one go, which is perfect. The last thing I want to do is spray one side at a time. Anyway, she was just putting a piece of cardboard down on the against the wall for me to do a test spray before I started. And I was busy mixing the paint, and there was this dong. Oh no. And there she was holding her head, and she'd smacked her head on it. Normally I put a piece of blue roll or something in it just to remind us it's there. And I've been very close to smacking my head on it a couple of times as well, but her head was the perfect height. Yeah, just above the eyebrow, just here, I think it was. Ooh, not good. I wouldn't say she saw stars, but you could tell she was definitely in pain. So she's having a lie in. She's allowed to lie in. She's banged her head. She's not doing very well at the moment, unfortunately. She's always hurting herself. Right, say HP sauce or chop sauce. Chop sauce. I'll have to look for that one. Andy the Pie. You are right. Okay, for those that have joined us, this is the brand of pie is a lover pie. Never heard of that brand before. It was purchased through an Autobahn cafe, which is one of the cafes on State Highway 1, just south of Auckland, right next to a BP. So Mrs. Mechanic prefers their coffee, so she went off and got one of their coffees, and at the same time, she found a pie for me. And here we go. It's a steak and cheese. It's a lover pie, and it looks very, very similar to the Wild Bean Cafe steak and cheese. The only thing I would say looks different is on the Wild Bean Cafe, they tend to have a bit more of the gravy splurged out the top, you know, where it's bubbled through a gap or a hole or a piercing or whatever it is on the top, just to relieve the pressure when it's being cooked. But other than that, it feels about the same weight. It looks very, very similar. Structural integrity is very good, actually. Just the construction, the style of pastry, the finish, it all looks very similar. So we will find out. Yes, that's all we need to know for now. Right, to the pie warmer. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, don't want to fall off the stool. Bum, bum, bum. Thank you for reminding me about the pie. I do tend to ramble on, but there's always a good little yarn somewhere hiding away. And your comments often trigger those. There we go. Pie is in. 23 minutes. It has to be 23 minutes. Yes, that will work. Perfect. And no, I have not cleaned it yet. Right. Well, we'll go back to the comments in a minute, but just to give you a quick update on the go-kart, this is only 1 day's work. I was planning to do it yesterday, and it was raining quite hard, so the audio would have been crap. But also, I had a trailer to unload and a ute to unload and stuff, so it wasn't until lunchtime before I even would have made a start. So I decided to tidy up the garden with Trevor the tractor. But anyway, that's a whole different story. This is where I'm at. This is after 1 day's work, and it wasn't a full day. We now have the jig. Now, obviously, there's a video on this. I've nearly finished editing the video, just not quite. The jig is made from some pretty stern box section. This is what we had left over from building the adventure trailer pod. So I think it's about 4mm. I think it's 5mm. Might be 5. No, looks like 4mm wall to me. A couple of strips, and obviously we've got some cross pieces in there as well to brace it all up. And then from the jig, we now have these little risers. I can take you down there, look. And I hole sawed them as a pair and then cut them in half. They're like not ideal. And what we do is we clamp all this down with G-clamps before we start cutting pieces out. Now the back end of the buggy is pretty good. You know, so we've still got the risers there because obviously we need to locate everything, but there won't be any pipe work at this stage, at least, replaced at the back end, unless we need to modify it for the engine, and that's a whole different part to the project. So at the moment, all we're doing is restoring the frame back to its original condition. So we've got basically, I've marked it all up, it's in the video. We've got these pieces to replace. We've got this rail that runs down here to replace. Basically, the whole front end's going to get replaced. And hence the reason why we need the jig, because I've got to actually come around here again. This piece needs to be replaced. It's quite rotten down here. So we're going to make some, we're going to basically either bolt or weld some stays to maintain the steering geometry off here down to the jig, front and rear, so that these stay in exactly the same place. I can then cut this pipe out, replace that pipe, weld it all in. Job as a carrot. That's the plan. So that's today's job. I'm going to be on with this buggy again, go-kart, sorry, today. But at the moment, there are 10 points where the frame, the go-kart frame, is tied into the jig. There will be more. I have to replace this front piece as well. So what I'll do is I'll make 2 more for under here, just again to make sure that the new piece gets located in exactly the right place. I want to keep everything absolutely bang on. I've even got these bits to replace actually as well. You see where the hoop for the steering column, where it comes down here, that's also rusty as well. So you can see the rust there, look, it's horrific. So I've got to replace just those bottom bits. At the moment, it looks like there's only one single bend to do on each piece to be replaced. So that makes it really easy, because if you have 2 bends, you've got to clock them. You've got to get them just right. And that makes it a lot harder. But we have some news on the bit that's going to go here. Jared has made a management decision after my consultation. So back to the bench. Time for another cigarette before my coffee gets cold. And I'll tell you all about what engine we're going to put in. And no, it's not going to be the YZ 250 engine, Simon. It isn't. Because we've got to look after the children. You know, they're only little. And if we put an engine like that in there, there'll be problems. There really will. Jared will be very upset because he'll probably spend a lot of time in hospital with them. Now then, back to the comments quickly. Andy the Pie done that. AJ44, Simon, what is chop sauce? Simon, chop sauce is a bit like HP, but not as strong. Interesting. Thank you, Simon. Roger, how low is that angle iron? I'd assume she'd sneak under most. Roger, all I will say to you, sir, is you're very lucky that you're asleep, that she's asleep at the moment. Maybe she isn't. Maybe she's listening to the live stream, because I did go in earlier on to get the receipt for the shopping, which we're going to get to shortly. And I had woken her up, so maybe she's not gone back to sleep, mate. So you could be in trouble for that. But yeah, I felt really bad when she banged her head. I absolutely hate people getting hurt in the workshop, especially when they're helping me to do a job. And yeah, it wasn't good at all. Banana Brooks, cut a hole in a tennis ball just big enough to be able to squeeze it over the eyelet. Yeah, I normally put just a bit of blue roll, and then it's really obvious that there's something there. And it's also sprayed. It was, when I first did it, it was sprayed like a fluorescent orangey concrete marking spray stuff. So it did stand out quite well, but obviously, you know, further down the line, that's dulled off, and it's not as obvious, and it really isn't as obvious now. And I've nearly hit it twice as well. So, you know, it's not her fault, it's my fault. I should have put some blue roll in it. Just temporary until I started spraying, but shit happens. Sorry, honey. The Giants. Andy, do you have plans for the go-kart? Plans as in a schematic plan? No, I don't. I have nothing. All I can do is replicate what's already there, and hence another reason why I'm using the jig. I think one of the real benefits of this series of videos will be showing people the benefits of using a jig and why we have to use one in order to make sure that the go-kart frame stays true. And how to do that and what it looks like. It sounds a bit daunting. Oh, I've got to make a jig. But in actual fact, the jig itself is actually quite easy to make. And the only critical points are where it actually meets the go-kart frame. It doesn't matter what shape your jig is, how long it is, how wide it is. It doesn't even matter if it's got a bit of a twist in it. It makes no difference as long as the contact points are all recorded and the extensions are all made where they meet the go-kart frame in advance. If you try and put a few more in later on, once you chop things out, then you sort of, you're introducing more variables is the bottom line. I think most people, most videos are how to build a go-kart, and that's fine, that's great. But I don't think there's many videos out there, especially sort of educational type videos, how-to videos on how to restore your old rusty go-kart, how to replace bits of tube without losing the structure or the shape of the frame, And the same thing would apply to lots of other stuff. It doesn't have to be a go-kart. Anything with a steel frame that you've got to replace bits on, it's a good way of doing it. Simon, it's going to need the new steel tube to take that big engine. Yeah, engine. So, the original plan was to build it like for like. And the original engine was a bit like a lawnmower style Briggs & Stratton type engine. And it had the output shaft in the horizontal plane, because most of them have it in the vertical plane for the blades on the lawnmower. So you get one with the output shaft horizontal. That then fed the primary sheave on a CVT drive, and then it would go to the secondary sheave via a belt drive, and that's where you get your variable speed from. And then from the secondary sheave, that went onto like a lay shaft with a sprocket, which would then drive via chain the rear axle. Pretty standard kind of setup for a go-kart. Lots going on, and obviously the CVT drive, being a belt drive, you do lose a bit of power through there as well. And then you've got the chain drive. So there's quite a bit going on before it gets to the wheels. So you're losing a chunk of your power. So I said to Jared, I said, look, you buying a new engine for it isn't going to be cheap, especially if you buy a proper one rather than a cheap Chinese copy. Then you've got to buy the CVT drive stuff. We've got to be able to source all of that and build it all up. And they're not the best CVT drives because they're the old school style, which just grabs the belt when you increase the engine revs. And then when you go down to idle, it releases the belt again just to idle so it doesn't drive the vehicle. And that causes a lot of belt wear. Ben's John Deere lawnmower used to be like that until he converted that to chain drive. I know it was on the blades, not on the drive to the wheels, but on the drive to the blades, he actually made it chain drive, and that was horrendous. Very dangerous, given the speed those blades flick around at. But anyway, so long story short, I said to Jared, why don't we fit a DR200 engine to it? And I might have mentioned this to you before as an idea, but I've got 2 or 3 more DR200s kicking around in the garden somewhere. So one of them's going to have a good engine. And I've got the loom, and I've got all the ignition system. I've got its electric start. I've got everything I need to do it. And then it also gives the kids a clutch to use. So they get to learn how to use a manual gearbox, which is a good thing in this world because there's not many of them left. So they get a clutch. They've got 5-speed gearbox. They've obviously got the brake and the throttle and so on. It'll be pretty quiet because those engines, the exhaust on them are pretty quiet. And I plan to put the exhaust across the back of the buggy. So yeah, I think it'll work. I don't see any reason why it won't. I did an engine swap on a buggy that Ben had in the UK. It was a Chinese one that we bought for him. We didn't really realise it was Chinese when we bought it, but it turned out to be Chinese. Cool little buggy, actually, and it wasn't that expensive, but the engine was shit. Didn't last very long at all. All the needle roller bearings on the clutch basket collapsed and destroyed the engine. So we fitted a quad bike engine to it, which was chain drive, and it was mint. It was absolutely mint after that. It was more powerful. It was 100% more reliable. It never gave us any problems at all, and it was a quad bike engine that we used in all our higher quads, and we had like 38 of those. So we had loads and loads of spare parts for it. It was good, and it didn't take that long to do. So, you know, DR200 engine, I think it'd be perfect. What do you think, Simon? Oh golly, all sorts going on here. AJ44, Mr. Heaps is brave behind the keyboard, as we all know when it comes to wives. Don't you worry, Mrs. Mechanic will get her own back. Banana Brooks, big smiley face, many times. Roger, nah, I'd say it to her face. She has a good sense of humor. She does, but she'll still get you back for it. Simon, are you just going to put some copper pipe inside the slide on the car to keep its power down on the go-kart? A DR200 engine will be just fine. I'm not putting the two-stroke in it. I'm not doing it. No chance. But no, the DR200 I think it'll be just fine. And I mean, if need be, we can, you know, not give them a gear lever for a while, then they can just drive it in first, just to get the hang of it. And then we can, I don't know, we'll work something out, but limit the number of gears they've got. We'll sort something out. But yeah, and we could maybe even fit a remote kill switch to it, you know, turn it off. There you go, kids, you're going too fast. We'll just turn it off. Roger, cooling behind the seat might be the only issue. Fan or oil cooler? Well, the DR200 farm spec, the one that I rode, you know, full length of the country, they have oil coolers as standard, and at least one of the, in fact, I know I've got a spare oil cooler because there was a spare bike that I stripped down. So yeah, we've got all the bits. So yes, an oil cooler. Yes, we could fit a cooling fan to draw a bit of air in across the fins. Will it need it? I can't imagine the kids driving it for hours on end, to be honest. I think it'll be all right with an oil cooler on it. I don't think we need to worry too much about any more than that. We'll find out. If it seizes up, something to fix, right? Those DR200 engines, because it's a farm bike, they are specifically designed for, that's why they've got their oil cooler on them, for very slow riding. You know, when you, as you well know, Roger, for leading the cows into the milking where it is and stuff, you know, they can cope with very slow and very low amounts of airflow across the fins. So I think it'll be all right. Be a good test, wouldn't it? I think it'll be fine. I do. I'm convincing myself it'll be fine. If I put a fan on it, I've got to put shrouds all around the fan because kids will be putting the fingers in it and stuff. You know, we'll work it out. AJ44, Roger, lol, my best friend's wife and I joke around like that. Every Halloween, I buy her a new ride. A broomstick. Oh, classic. I do like that. That's a good one. Banana Brooks, maybe a cowling to direct the airflow. Yeah, maybe a cowling could just do the trick. We'll work, as like I said, we'll work something out. We could do that. Simon, on Amazon, I've seen a cheap remote on-off relays. Well, there you go. Send me a link on an email, Simon. That could be useful. Coffee is very cold. Okay, and I'm getting cold, actually. It was raining earlier on this morning. So, let me just try and pick out. I remember some of the things that we put in the trolley. God, it's going to take me a while to find them. I should have marked these in advance, but I didn't have time. Okay, so here's a good one for you. Deodorant. We all use deodorant. Well, we all should use deodorant anyway. And I'm sure in England we get the Lynx type deodorant. So the little cans of Lynx deodorant over here at Pack and Save are $5.89 each. Do you have Lynx deodorant where you live? And if you do, any idea what the price is? And how does that compare to New Zealand. It's always, when they're on special offer, I've seen them at $5, but that was, a few years ago. I've seen them as much as $7, $6.99 here in New Zealand at some supermarkets and dairies and stuff. Okay, here you go. This is a good one for you. Right, fizzy pop, Fanta. Now, I think we get Fanta in the UK. Now, the size of the bottle is 2.25 litres, so a reasonably large bottle of Fanta. Here is $4.49. Yes, I can imagine in the UK it would be less than £1. But anyway, see what you think. So Fanta Orange, 2.25 litres, $4.49. Remember, Pack and Save is supposedly one of the cheapest supermarkets here in New Zealand. So they don't get any cheaper than this, right? So they say. Ah, yes, here we go. Right. So, Head and Shoulders shampoo. You can get it in the UK. I know you can. We used to buy it. 400 milliliter bottle. So it's a reasonably large bottle. And it doesn't matter whether it's conditioner or the shampoo. Are you ready for this? Are you sat down? $14.10 per bottle. $14.10 for a 400 milliliter bottle of Head and Shoulders. Absolutely astronomical, to be honest. Let's find one more for you. Something that's going to be common around the world. Just bear with me. Hang on. There's a lot of Pam stuff in here. That's all cheap stuff. Hang on. It's all right. You guys will be busy Googling the other stuff, so you're all right. What is... Right. Here you go. A cauliflower. Right? Most people can buy cauliflowers in their country. A cauliflower, most of it which we ate last night, $3.99 for a single cauliflower. Okay. A leek, a single leek, $2.99. What the hell? Oh, and here you go. This is a good easy one for you. 4 kilograms of washed potatoes. These are pre-bagged. $12, $11.99 for 4 kilograms of washed potatoes. Scary stuff, isn't it? Shall I give you one more? Maybe we've got one more. We'll see. Hang on. Okay, yeah, right. Streaky bacon. We were talking about bacon earlier on, weren't we? So this is a Farmland brand of streaky bacon. Only 250 grams. So a very small packet of bacon. And it was extremely thinly cut, sliced as well. 250 grams of streaky bacon. $7.79. Okay, that's the last one. $7.79. Unbelievable. Oh, maybe I should give you some... Where's that steak? New Zealand beef rump steak. It hasn't got the weight on it, unfortunately, so you can't really compare that. No. Okay, so you've got what you need. There's some examples of this ridiculously long shopping list, which, no, I'm not going to frame it and put it in the lounge, but even so, I should do, really, because we're never going to spend that kind of money again on shopping. No way, Jose. I'll just give Mrs. Mechanic cash when she goes shopping next, I think. Where do we get to? Seeing as Mrs. Mechanic is a what? Oh, you're in trouble now, mate. Oh no. She sent you a text or a message or something. Simon Roll, Lynx can is $3. So that's about the same then, isn't it? Because I think it's about $2 New Zealand to the pound at the moment. So it's about the same. Okay, that's good to know. So AJ44, Simon, I think titanium would take as many cc's you can throw at it. Hey, titanium, what are you on about? 650. You're on about the engine for the go-kart, right? There is no way I'm putting an engine that size in a go-kart. Not a chance. No way. I wouldn't even drive it with that engine in it. So that'd be too dangerous. Simon, 350 YPVS. Do you know how valuable the 350 YPVS engines are now? They're like rocking horse shit. They really are. Simon, don't know about shampoo. Not got any hair. That is one thing that maybe, just maybe, I'll be looking forward to in the future when it all falls out. I won't need to buy any more shampoo. Well, Mrs. Mechanic will, but I won't. There was a time a few years ago, probably just before the big C, that I used to wash my hair because I was on the road a lot and I didn't like to carry a lot of stuff around with me. And I actually collect. You know, when you go to a hotel, you get all the free shampoos and little bottles, and you get coffees and teas and stuff. I collect all of that, and I bring it all home, and then Mrs. Mechanic at the end of each year, she bags it all up. So you get like a pack, an assortment of stuff, and she'll produce probably a couple of hundred packs out of what I bring home, and then we give it to the homeless shelter in Auckland. So I don't use it, so that's why I didn't wash my hair with shampoo. I used soap, believe it or not. For about 2 years, I would just wash my hair with soap. And it was all right. It did the trick. Still there, I don't anymore, but, for quite a while I did. I wouldn't advise it, but I didn't see any side effects to it. JJ, and those potatoes probably came from Pukekohe, just up the road from you. They probably did. In fact, I think Dinesh, who has the steering box out of his tractor, I think he farms potatoes. Sure he does. Maybe you should give me a year's supply of potatoes, a year's supply of spuds for fixing his steering box. That's work in progress. The first video's done. It's in the can. I sent him a link. It's unlisted at the moment. I sent Dinesh a link. He's watched it and he's, that's cool. Didn't realize there was so much wrong with it. Well, there is. So that video will be going out at some point next week for you. I'm just really trying to. I try to have a rule where I don't release a new video until the current one hits 1,000 views. Because what tends to happen when you release a new video is the previous one, the views drop right off for a while, and it's nice to hit 1,000 before you. I know some people like to hit 1 million, right? But I'm a lot more conservative. That 1,000 is good for me. I think we're about 800 and something now. So maybe by the middle of next week, it might have just tipped 1,000. But when it hits 1,000 views on the first one, then on the current video, then the steering box one will go out, and the same will happen when for the go-kart. Obviously, if the video stalls out and doesn't really get that many views, then I pull the pin and release the next one, usually within a couple of weeks if all goes to plan. Oh my word, iPhone Davies, is that right? iPhone Davies. Hi, just come across your channel. Hi, iPhone. Welcome to my workshop, sir. Simon, when I did have hair, Link shower gel was good for washing your hair. Maybe wife. I used to use that. I used to use it a lot, actually. When I was in England, Link shower gel. Yeah, used to wash my hair with it, wash everything with it, basically. And my hair hasn't fallen out. I mean, it's falling out. I had to clean the drain, the outside drain that the shower runs off into. I'm not kidding. It was horrific. Where does all the hair come from? It was absolutely horrendous. There was great long strands of hair, well over 1 foot long, dangling down below the grate at the top. Oh, it was hideous. Anyway, I had the gloves on. Wasn't a problem. And most of it was my hair anyway. So, but yeah, I'm sure, I reckon within 2 years I'll be bald. Hope not. I think so. Because when it gets real thin, you got to bite the bullet and just shave it all off, right? I'm not doing the comb over thing. I'm not doing the wispy hair stuff. I'm not doing that. Just go bald, It's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Cheaper on shampoo. Isn't it, Simon? AJ44, joking. Big motor, big respect. Or Darwin's natural selection and frame repairs come to the forefront. They sure do. Connor K, 2 bottles of Fanta 1.5 litres each. Hang on, I've got to scroll. €1.98. So that's 2 bottles of Fanta, 1.5 litres each, $1.98. Okay. Nearby supermarket in Portugal. Sorry, basically €2. I don't know what the exchange rate is for euros to New Zealand dollars. I don't. Sounds expensive though, doesn't it? So that's €1.98 per bottle. Is that right, Connor? Simon, remember the Lynx TV ads? I do. Good adverts. The Lynx effect won't get away with those types of adverts now. No. Modern TV has lost all its, and the adverts especially have lost all their interesting bits, haven't they? You know? I mean, the flake advert with the lass just eating the, wow, you know? Nice advert, nice lass. You don't see that anymore either, do you? You know, crumbliest, flakiest. She's eating that chocolate really well. Anyway, the pie's ready, gentlemen. Let's go and get the pie. Turn around, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. 2 litres of Fanta in the US is $1. Oh, wow, so it's cheap in the US. So, oh, it's cheap there as well, Connor. €1.98 for 3 litres. Holy crap. Yeah, we're getting screwed over here in New Zealand. Okay, the pie. We've got some thermal expansion going on. Look at this. All around there, it's cracked. Oh, it's nice and warm in the pie warmer, as it should be. Okay. Oh, geez, don't drop the pie. It's definitely lost some of its strength. Keeping the pie in focus for you, gentlemen. There you go. How's that? Boom. Okay, turn around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, there we go. Get the camera sorted out. Oh, what time are we on? Right, we're an hour in. It's amazing what we find to talk about for a whole hour, isn't it? Just waffling away. All 24 of us, 23 viewers and me. Those that haven't hit the like yet, give us a thumbs up. There you are, Simon. I did it for you this time. Okay, so this is, quick scan again. This is a Lover Pie. That's the brand. It's sold by Autobahn Cafe because they buy them in. There's a few Autobahn cafes around New Zealand, but not that many. Nothing like the wild bean cafes and stuff. We've got a lot of cracks that have suddenly developed on this pie. Most bizarre. It's been cooked in exactly the same way as the vast majority of pies that we have on this channel. It comes out of the fridge and it gets 23 minutes in the pie warmer, and they always come out nice piping hot, but not over hot usually. The base doesn't look too bad. It looks a bit thin around there, but the sides are a bit worrying. I think we're going to start here. Oh, look at that. We're going to start here and give it the best chance. I think we're going to cover the bench in pastry as well, by the looks of it. Okay, I'm going in. Well, first bite was a lot of pastry. Not bad pastry. So Connor, by the looks of it, I think your fizzy pop is quite a bit cheaper than New Zealand. A lot cheaper than New Zealand. iPhone, how long have you been in New Zealand for a decent... Hey? How long have you been in New Zealand for a decent rugby squad? They do a pretty good job, don't they? But I've been in New Zealand for about 14 and a half years now, I think it works out to be. Oh. I say it's not over hot. It's pretty hot. There you go. Look. So we're just starting to hit the meat now. Doesn't taste like a wild bean cafe pie. Looks a bit like one. Doesn't taste like it. Okay. We had a big chunk of pastry earlier on, so I'm going to rate the pastry now. It's pretty bland. It is pastry. There's no additional flavourings in the pastry at all. It is just pastry taste. So I'm going to give it... It's not bad. and it's not gooey, you know, it is cooked. I'm going to give it a 7, I think. And give that a 7. Okay. Let's see if we can get some more meat. Holy crap. It's hot. It's really hot. Comments. We'll let it cool down a minute. Simon, if you Google the story of Fanta, it's quite interesting. Links to World War II Germany. Hit the like. What the hell? Wow, I didn't realise that Fanta came from that era. Connor K. €1 equals 1.84 New Zealand dollars. So yours was about 2, so about $4, and you get an extra litre. So it is quite a bit cheaper then. Heterogeneity rocks. Well, now I'm hungry. Be back after getting a bite. Always happens to somebody on the live stream. So you got to come prepared. I wonder if Simon's got his ciders out. Oh. Now the meat, I'm just going to be very careful here. See if I can get in there. Yeah, the meat, it's quite pasty in there. You see all that gravy stuff? We've only had one chunk of meat so far. The rest just seems to be almost like strands of meat mixed in with the gravy. It really tastes like braising steak, not proper steak, if you know what I mean. It's got quite an odd taste to it. Oh, there you go. A chunk of meat. I've eaten half of it. Just that lot. Okay, we better start scoring this before it's all gone. Taste, stroke, flavour, contents. It's all right. I'm going to give it a 5. No, I'm going to give it a 6. It's all right. We've not had any cheese yet, though. That score might still change. Structure Foley partners. Well, we've got a bit of stuff on the bench already. You really won't want to eat this one in your car, that's for sure. Definitely not. It was quite badly cracked, wasn't it? And the lid was all loose and everything. 5, 6, 5. Give it a 5. I think for now. But if it behaves itself from now on, it might go up again. Runnability test, right? 45 degrees for 30 seconds. Are you ready? Okay, that's a good 45 degrees. Keep your eye on the contents. There's quite a bit hanging out. Can you see that there? Look. Yes, you can. Put my hand behind it. Yeah. 45 degrees. It's actually pretty stable. There's no movement on the contents whatsoever. So full marks. 10 out of 10 for that one. Boom. Right, meat quality. It's not the best. I have to say, it's not the best. There's an awful lot of gravy and not a lot of meat. And what meat there is, isn't that tasty. So, thumbs down on that one. I mean, we've had worse, don't get me wrong. I'll give it a 5. What the hell? Pie to crust ratio. So, sorry, this is the contents, actually. So the volume of the contents versus the cross-sectional volume of the pastry. Normally you get big chunks of pastry in the corners here. This is actually quite thin. The base is very thin. Although it's hanging in there really well is the base. The base is good. The lid is made up of sort of puff pastry stuff, and you've got this gooey pastry on top of the meat. But there isn't actually that much volume of pastry, which is good. I'm going to give them, I think for that, I'm going to give them a 7. I think. It's not bad at all. 7. Now, availability stroke logistics. I've only ever come across this lover pie. This is the first time we've ever found it. It must be a local brand to where that Autobahn cafe is. Let's have a look. Lover Pie, New Zealand. Homemade pies that feel like home. What? Bear with me. You can Google this yourself if you want. Oh, sold out. What the hell? Okay. So you can buy them online by the looks of it. But you buy them in a 12 pack. It says here. And they're all sold out, which is weird. A Kiwi staple through and through, pies have filled our hearts and bellies for years, making mealtime mean. From smoko to roadies and all in between. Oh, somebody's a little poet there, aren't they? We all know that familiar feeling, peeling back the paper, eyeing up the pastry, and the flaky goodness that follows. So they're under the impression that flaky pastry is a good thing. I don't think it is. It's instantly a problem for eating your pie in your car or in a meeting or, you know, somewhere that you're going to contaminate the place with a million pieces of pastry. But have they stopped? I don't know. Orders at loverpie.co.nz, Instagram, Facebook. Where are they based? Does it say where they're based? What's over here? Bear with me, people. Home pies contact. Right. Oh, they do t-shirts. If you don't like the pies, you always buy a t-shirt. Holy, they're in East Tamaki. Lady Ruby Drive. Very close to where I work. Lover Pie Foods Limited. Well, there you go. Probably says it all, actually. Pies. I know you can't see this, and I could change the camera around, but... So, everything is sold out. I believe they've just stopped selling stuff online. Okay, there you go. You want to have a look, don't you? I'll show you. There you go. Lover Pie pies. And they're all sold out. What the hell, people? Why would you have a website and then sell out all your pies? I just think... I can't believe that they've sold out all their pies. I think they've just stopped selling them online, really. Anyway. If you can't get them online, they're sold out. It doesn't count. If we were to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you can get them through any of the Autobahn cafes around New Zealand, how many of those are there? Let's have a look. Bombay and Papakura. 2. There's 2 Autobahn cafes. Right. So that's not looking good, is it? What do we give them? 3? 4? 3? 4? Give them a 4. What the hell? Okay. Still tasty when cold. We don't know yet. Still too hot. Packaging design. It's just a paper bag. It's crap, to be perfectly honest. So they only get, well, I think they get a 1 for that. And recyclable score. Well, it is a paper bag. It is recyclable, but they lose a mark for not telling us it's recyclable. It's not plastic lined at all. So that's 9. Pie server attractiveness. Now, Mrs. Mechanic said the lady was very nice. Made a good effort to come to work that day. Spent a bit of time getting ready, obviously putting her makeup on and stuff. And she was very nice. Very, very welcoming and stuff. And the Autobahn Cafe is I mean, okay, it's not a posh restaurant. It's not going to be or a pub. But it's well looked after, well presented. So we've decided to give the lady an 8 out of 10. The lady and the environment. Because she did say that not many people take these pies out of the cafe. They normally eat them in the cafe. But hey, we wanted to take ours out so you guys could see it. So we'll give her an 8. Good job. Might have just about saved the day for Lover Pie pies. Wow. Okay. Still haven't come across any cheese whatsoever. I think this is just a steak pie. Wow. Thanks, Connor. Connor K. New Zealand dollar is 50.54 euros. Wow. Simon, only had one cider tonight. Sat in a tent camping. Ooh. You wouldn't do that in Australia. Okay. €1.98 for 2 bottles of Fanta totaling 3 litres is New Zealand dollars 3.64. So it's cheaper. Definitely cheaper. And you get more. So per litre it's cheaper. AJ44. What does a pack of cigarettes cost in New Zealand? In Canada, a pack of 25 goes for $18 to $24. Here, $40. $40, 20 smokes. That one, Pall Mall, menthol books. I have menthol cigarettes. I do smoke the odd one, the odd normal one now and again, but normally menthol cigarettes. $40. In some places, $41.50. Ridiculously expensive. And yes, I need to stop smoking. Can't afford it. Which is exactly what the government want. So they say on their marketing. They probably don't want you to stop smoking because of the tax they get from it. Right, we've got post-pie heartburn. There haven't been any burps at all yet. Everything's pretty in abeyance. Still tasty when cold. Ah, cheese. That's it. That's the little tiny bit of cheese. So it is a steak and cheese, but it's got hardly any cheese in it at all. Very stingy on the cheese. We've got a bit of leakage at the back as well. Look. We'll be super careful eating this pie. Definitely won't be as tasty as the Wellbeing Cafe steak and cheese cold. They're actually not bad cold, as long as there's no gristly bits in. And I had another pie the other day from Wellbeing Cafe, steak and cheese, had another gristly bit in. So they're definitely dumbing down the quality of the meat a little bit, unfortunately. Okay. Still tasty when cold. I would eat it out of the glove box. You know, 3 or 4 days driving around Auckland or New Zealand. Oh, I'm hungry. Open the glove box. Oh, there's an old pie in there. I'll eat that. I'd probably regret it afterwards, but I'm pretty sure I'd finish the whole pie. It's not that bad. So, I'll give him a 5 on the still tasty. There's a lot of 5s today. Post pie heartburn, there isn't any, so they get full marks for that. And stuffability score. Am I stuffed? I think I'll be asking Mrs. Mechanic for a bit of toast after the live stream, so I'm not fully stuffed. I'm certainly not overstuffed. I'm going to give him an 8. It wasn't bad. I'm going to give him an 8. It did feel about the same kind of weight as a Wellbeing Cafe, but not as satisfying. And satisfaction is part of the hunger thing, isn't it, I think? If you eat something that's really nice, I think that's more likely to satisfy your hunger than eating something that you go, oh, that was crap. I still want something that's nice. I still want that gratification. So I think it's partly psychological. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, a burp. We're down to 9 on the heartburn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, all the scores are in, and you can help me add them up. Turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay. That was a bit of a long, drawn-out pie review. My apologies. Right. Don't fall off the stool. Okay, so we've got... Can you see that okay? Yes. 11, 21, 26, 26, 32, 36. Is that right? Did I go wrong there? Hang on. 21, 26, 33, 37, 44, 49, 50, 59, 68, 76, 84. Pretty run-of-the-mill score, to be perfectly honest. 84. Okay, and I've forgotten to get the magnetic strip, so we'll go for a little walk. We'll go and get that. Oh, I was in a rush this morning. Morning, Lily. Boom, boom, boom. We need a magnetic... Oh, there's one. Look, we'll have that one. We're still doing... We've got a few more left. We're all right. Don't panic. There'll be a few more pies to review before we're out. Okay. There's the strip. Sticky back down there again. Okay, so this was a lover pie. Are we on camera? We are. L-U-V-A pie. Steak and cheese. Huh. And it was 84. And I'm going to put on here hardly any cheese. Okay, and that was from, I'm going to put on there Autobahn. B-A-H-N, isn't it? There we go. I'd like to put lots of information on there. 84. So that's a pretty sort of average score, I think, really, isn't it? Right, we're just going up you. There we are. That's better. Okay, off we go. 84. Where's that going to end up on the board? Oh, it's on the bad side. Oh, look at that. We've got a gap. We'll stick him in there. Look. Wow. 84. So it's on the column. Anything under 85, and I wouldn't go there again. Definitely not. We're running out of room. We've got one right down the bottom. 41. Westy pie. That's terrible. And realistically, the only ones that I would go for is 95 and above. Dum 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 dum, which is these ones here. Man, we've done some pies over the years, haven't we now? Look at that lot. That's a lot of calories. Jeez. Holy moly. Alright, back to the bench. Now, Mrs. Mechanic, if you are up, do you want to boil the kettle and make me another coffee? Because this one is very, very cold. And you'll need your umbrella because it's pouring down. It's a good day for welding when it's raining. Right. Okay. Is that going to work? Yes, that'll work. Okay, so 84 was the score for today's pie. Not the greatest score, but also not the worst pie either. It was okay. Jeez. Okay, comments. Let's get back to the comments. Get rid of that. Oh, I missed. I miss every time. Not very good at that. Okay, where we are. Marcin Wojciechowski. I can't pronounce your surname. I can't. Hey, Andy and chat. I am too late for a pie. You're never too late for a pie. I've just eaten my pie. You're welcome to have your own pie anytime you like. And yes, you should have a pie. Pies are great. Usually. Marcin. No. In the middle. Good. Yes. So you came along when I was halfway through chomping through my pie. Good job. Roger. Pack of 25 in New Zealand is between $45 and $50 here. Hence, I gave up in February. Not good for the waistline, lol. No. No, I mean, if I stop smoking, geez. Waistline's not good as it is, to be fair. But, you know, that's partly because of all the pies that I eat for you guys. I'm doing this for you so that you at least don't buy a crappy pie. George Bunny 90, hello Marcin. Simon Rawls, stop smoking or find a good smuggler. Well, Mrs. Mechanic was reading the other day that, what were they going to do? That's right. They say there's about 6,000 places here in New Zealand where you can currently buy cigarettes from legally. I have to stress that because I'm sure there's plenty more places where you can buy them illegally. And they're going to cut that down by, was it June 2025? I think it was, or maybe June 2024 next year. They're going to cut that down, so they plan to only 600. That's right. So only 600 where you can buy the normal cigarettes, stuff like this, right? All the rest will only be allowed to sell cigarettes that have got 95% less nicotine in them than current cigarettes. What the hell? Really? There'll be a mutiny on their hands if they do that. Or they'll just drive the whole thing underground. It'll all be black market cigarettes, you know? Most bizarre. It really is. They're on an absolute mission to stamp out cigarettes now. Now, I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. But hey, maybe by that point it'll be the right time for me to stop smoking anyway. Maybe I won't be able to afford to smoke anymore by then. It's getting pretty close as it is, to be honest. It's bloody expensive. For what it is. George Bonnie 90. Plus, they shame you on the pack. Your smoking harms children and puppies. I don't smoke around children or puppies, other than our own little doggy, and she's 14 years old and she's doing just fine. She doesn't cough at all, you know. Connor K, €5.60 for a pack of Marlboros. In Portugal, 20 in a pack, €5.60. So that's about 11, 12, maybe 13 New Zealand dollars. Man, that's cheap. That's really cheap. That's about the price it was here in New Zealand when I first started to smoke, when I was 37, 14 years ago. Wow. Marcin, in Poland, a pack of 20 Marlboros is around €4. I need to live in Poland. No, I don't. That'd be bad. I'd be smoking all the time. Simon, it's that smoke-free New Zealand thing. Well, they're trying real hard. Oh, hang on. Bear with me, people. We've got somebody at the door. Oh, honey, you're too good. Thank you. Got me coffee. Mrs. Mechanic is out of bed. She was getting rained on. Get rid of that one. That one's cold. God, I wish my workshop floor was flat. Honestly, it's terrible concrete, whoever did it. Now, yes, so New Zealand government are very much on the stampede to stamp out smoking here in New Zealand. And that's obviously the next wave of plans. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know. A lot of people have taken up the vaping thing. That doesn't interest me at all. And, you know, it's not as safe as they thought it was. It has its own problems, doesn't it? Anyway, we digress. So the plan of attack for today is to get back on with the go-kart. A few more little stays to make, little risers to get some more points on the frame built into the jig. And then start to cut out some stuff. I did pick up a full length, 5.5 meter length of the largest diameter pipe at a cost of, including GST, about 145 New Zealand dollars. So, you know, we've got that. I don't think I'll be using all of it. I'm sure I won't be using all of it, but it's good to have it. It's the largest diameter pipe. It just turns out that I can bend in my pipe bender anyway, so that's good. It's all going to work to plan. So yes, of course I'll be filming it, and I've got pretty much the whole day to get it done. So I've got quite a lot of time on my hands, but it does take a lot of time when you're filming. I was going to ask for some feedback on the first video, but it hasn't gone out yet, so I have to wait. I'm not filming every single cut and grind and stuff. I do try to skip through some of the boring stuff and get into the interesting stuff. And then, obviously, I've got to try and find one of these DR200s and get the engine taken out, and then we can offer that up and get an idea with the rear axle in position, where it's going to sit, a good chain line and so on. I'm a bit concerned about the heat from the exhaust on the back of the seat. May need to put some kind of firewall baffle thing in there. But other than that, I think it should work out pretty well. There's no reason why we can't sit the engine a bit further back, you know, so that the chain is, the actual sprocket is behind the rear axle and the chain runs forwards. I don't see any disadvantage to that at all. Should work just the same. Obviously it won't have a reverse, but it didn't have a reverse before anyway, I don't think. So yeah, I think it'll work out pretty well, actually. I'm really looking forward to this project as it's progressing. I'm really pleased as well that we've decided to do an engine change, because that's, again, something that other people might find interesting, where they you know, you don't have to stick with the original engine fitted. It's not that hard to change the engines out. You know, and put in something more powerful, or something. If the original engine's broken and you can't get a replacement or the parts to fix it, then there may be an old motorbike engine kicking around that you can make fit. There's no reason why you couldn't do that, you know. Roger. Well, we all know the government makes great decisions. This is not a political show. I'm not getting into it. I try to stay out of politics as much as I possibly can. And hey, they're going to do whatever they want to do, right? That's just the way it is. Anyway, such is life. Right, we're at, exactly an hour and 31 minutes. Look at that. Simon, the fake coal from a gas fire is a good heat guard when, what? When sandwiched. Oh, the fake coal from a gas fire is a good heat guard when, to use as an insulator. That's good to know. Don't know what we're going to do yet. We'll have to just wait and see how things pan out. It's just one of those, nothing's designed from the start. It's all just as we go along, the journey of engineering, as we call it, when we're just doing fag packet designs and solving problems as we go, which is what this will be. Sure, when we've finished, we could go, well, we could have put the engine a bit more forwards or a bit further back, or we could have done this, but that's a learning curve, and in some respects, that's a benefit of that series when you do the recap at the end, you know, because then the viewers can then do things a little bit differently and better to what I've done, hopefully. Anyway, crew, I think we're about there, actually. I do. Next week, what am I doing next week? Next week, I'm up to Auckland first thing Monday morning. All going to plan and be home again Tuesday night, working from home Wednesday. I remember that bit. Thursday, Friday, I'm pretty sure I've got dealer visits again Thursday, Friday. So I'm back on the road for the end of the week. Home Friday night, and again back in the workshop for the weekend. And a bit of a surprise came through last night. Benjamin's coming down again, and I've got some motorcycles to strip, from a complete motorcycle to a big pile of bits. Yes, we're going to video it, and no, it can't go out on the channel for a while. Quite a long time, I imagine. So you can read into that what you like. But I'll explain in the videos why those motorcycles need to be stripped down. So maybe one day you'll find out. So there'll be no filming. We might get it all done in a day, actually, with Ben helping as well. So I might get back onto the go-karts. Maybe Ben can give me a hand with the go-kart on the Sunday. That would be good, because it'd be good to have another pair of hands to hold the engine and, you know, nut things out, because he's pretty clever when it comes to engineering stuff, is Ben. It's amazing what he comes up with. Right, guys, that's it. Thank you all for joining. Hope you've enjoyed this live stream. Thanks to all those that support the channel previously and currently. Really, really appreciate it. Without you guys, there wouldn't be a channel. Simple as that. Okay, crew. See you next time. Cheers. Over and out.